Welcome back to Skytech-Lens. In autumn 2025, as the leaves turn and the air grows crisp, Canada finds itself at a crossroads unlike any in recent memory. The nation stands on the brink of a major transformation, with decisions made now set to echo for years to come. The catalyst? A bold and controversial move, the imposition of a sweeping 100% tariff on Chinese electric vehicles, a policy that has sent shockwaves through the economy and caught the attention of the world. While the tariff was designed to shield Canadian auto jobs and support local manufacturing, it has instead ignited a fierce trade war, pitting Ontario's auto workers against prairie canola farmers, and exposing deep divisions within the country. The fallout is far-reaching. Canadians now face higher car prices, a slowdown in the adoption of electric vehicles, and a setback for national climate goals. Meanwhile, farmers grapple with stalled exports and mounting uncertainty about their livelihoods. The Carney government is under immense pressure, scrambling to contain the economic and political damage as Beijing's swift retaliation threatens the jobs and security of thousands of Canadians across multiple sectors. What began as a measure of economic protectionism has spiraled into a national dilemma, with every possible solution carrying its own set of steep risks and unintended consequences. This story delves into how a single policy decision sent ripples through the entire economy, reshaping debates on trade, jobs, and the very future of Canada's place in the world. We'll trace the origins of the tariff, examine its impact on farmers, families, and businesses, and follow the government's urgent search for a way out of this crisis. The choice Canada makes now will not only define its path in a turbulent global economy, but also shape the lives of millions for generations to come. The 100% tariff was announced in October 2024, marking a dramatic shift in Canada's approach to international trade and the auto industry. Chinese electric vehicles, often more affordable and technologically advanced, were flooding global markets, and Canada was no exception. Their rapid rise posed a direct threat to the country's long-established auto sector, which employs hundreds of thousands and forms the backbone of many communities. Ottawa feared that, without decisive intervention, domestic automakers would be overwhelmed before they could adapt to the fast-changing electric era. The government worried that Canadian innovation and jobs would be lost to foreign competition almost overnight. The tariff was pitched as a temporary shield, designed to give Canadian manufacturers a fighting chance to modernize, retool, and compete on a level playing field. It also brought Canada's policy in line with the United States, aiming to prevent Canada from becoming a backdoor for Chinese EVs into North America, a move that reassured American partners and reinforced cross-border cooperation. Auto unions and manufacturers cheered the decision, calling it long overdue protection for Canadian jobs and a vital step to secure the future of the country's auto industry. Critics, however, warned of swift Chinese retaliation, potential trade wars, and higher prices for Canadian consumers, especially those hoping to buy affordable electric vehicles. While the government's focus was on protecting Ontario's industrial heartland, the risks to other sectors, like agriculture and shipping, were clear and could not be ignored. The move was a calculated gamble. Protect one critical industry, but risk collateral damage to others, from prairie farms to coastal ports and small businesses across the country. Few anticipated just how quickly those risks would materialize, sending shockwaves through Canada's economy and sparking a national debate about the true cost of protectionism. China's response was swift and strategic, a 75.8% tariff on Canadian canola seed, devastating prairie farmers and sending shockwaves through the agricultural sector. The move was not just a simple trade measure, it was a calculated blow aimed at one of Canada's most valuable exports. Canola, a $5 billion export and a lifeline for thousands of Canadian families, suddenly lost its largest market overnight. Prices and futures contracts plummeted, leaving farmers and investors scrambling to make sense of the new reality. Across the prairies, farmers faced mountains of unsellable harvests and the looming threat of financial ruin. Equipment sat idle, and the ripple effects spread quickly as rural communities braced for job losses and shrinking local economies. Beijing's retaliation didn't stop at canola. Tariffs and restrictions soon extended to other crops, broadening the pain across Western Canada and threatening the stability of the entire agricultural sector. The message from China was unmistakable. Trade wars have far-reaching, targeted consequences that can disrupt entire industries and communities, not just individual businesses. China's move aimed to fracture Canadian unity, pitting farmers against factory workers and creating tension between different regions and sectors of the economy. The crisis exposed Canada's vulnerability. Its heavy reliance on a few key export markets left the country exposed to economic shocks and political leverage from abroad. For many, the canola crisis became a harsh lesson in the true costs of protectionism and the dangers of putting too many eggs in one basket. The government's attempt to shield one sector had left another on the brink, revealing the unintended consequences of trade policy decisions. The fallout was not just economic, but deeply political, sparking protests, heated debates, and a national conversation about how Canada should navigate an increasingly uncertain global trading environment. The tariffs' impact rippled beyond farms. Car buyers felt it too. Chinese EVs, once affordable, doubled in price overnight, stalling Canada's electric vehicle market. EV sales plunged 40%, derailing climate targets and forcing Ottawa to pause its zero-emission mandate. Provincial incentives vanished as budgets tightened. British Columbia scrapped its program, Quebec nearly followed. New EV registrations fell sharply, and families faced fewer, pricier options. The dream of affordable green transportation slipped away for many. Meanwhile, unemployment climbed, with tens of thousands of jobs lost in a single month. The policy meant to protect jobs was now fueling economic headwinds. Canadians across the country felt the squeeze, in their wallets and in their hopes for a cleaner future. The unintended consequences were mounting, fast. By late summer, the Carney government's resolve was wavering. Mounting pressure from farmers, slumping EV sales and rising unemployment forced a public rethink. Cabinet ministers began hinting at a policy review, signaling openness to compromise. Agriculture Minister MacDonald confirmed the tariff was on the table, a clear shift from earlier defiance. Ottawa rolled out emergency aid for farmers, but many saw it as a stopgap, not a solution. The government was caught between protecting auto jobs and rescuing agriculture. The bold certainty of the tariff's launch had faded, replaced by urgent pragmatism. The search for a way out had begun. The crisis drew in provincial leaders. Saskatchewan's Premier Moe traveled to Beijing, seeking relief for farmers. Ottawa, once wary, endorsed the mission, signaling a new openness to multi-channel diplomacy. Moe's outreach showed Beijing the depth of domestic pressure on Carney's government. Meanwhile, Washington watched closely. The U.S. warned that dropping the tariff could make Canada a gateway for Chinese EVs, threatening new American tariffs on Canadian autos. Ottawa was trapped: appease China and risk U.S. retaliation, or hold firm and let farmers suffer. The diplomatic dance became a high-stakes balancing act. Every move risked backlash from either Beijing or Washington. The government's room to maneuver was shrinking. Canada's economic stability hung in the balance. 4 options emerged for Ottawa. First, scrap the tariff entirely, likely restoring canola exports and affordable EVs, but risking a U.S. backlash and auto job losses. Second, partially reduce the tariff, seeking compromise. Some relief for farmers, some protection for automakers, but no guarantees. Third, keep the tariff for now, but aggressively diversify export markets and use tariff removal as leverage for Chinese investment in Canada. Fourth, maintain the status quo. Subsidize farmers, protect auto jobs, but accept ongoing economic pain and strained global relationships. Each path carried steep trade-offs. The government faced a choice between immediate relief and long-term strategy. No option promised a painless solution. The stakes were nothing less than Canada's economic future. Every path forward is fraught with risk. Removing the tariff could save farmers and consumers but devastate the auto sector and provoke U.S. retaliation. A partial rollback might satisfy no one. Farmers could remain in crisis, automakers still threatened, and U.S. pressure undiminished. Diversification is a long-term play, offering little immediate help to those suffering now. Using the tariff as leverage for Chinese investment is clever, but uncertain. Maintaining the status quo means endless subsidies, higher prices, and a stalled green transition. The government must weigh short-term pain against long-term vision. Every choice means winners and losers. The challenge: defend one industry without sacrificing another or Canada's global standing. The nation's prosperity hangs in the balance. As autumn deepens, Canada stands at a crossroads. The government's bold protectionism has triggered a crisis linking farmers, auto workers, and families across the country. The dilemma: protect legacy industries or embrace global competition and affordable goods? Every path demands sacrifice, jobs, prices, or international relationships. The decision will define Canada's future in a volatile world. This is more than a trade dispute, it's a test of national priorities and identity. The question remains, which path is the wiser one for Canada's future? Thanks for watching. Subscribe the channel for more updates.